Hello once again. Um, I'm going to be shooting today's video with an attempt to verify whether or not this power supply is a reliable power supply. And I mean that with a lot of hope because it's been a while since I've seen this one. I have a tendency of setting aside items with the idea of using them in future projects. I have about, I'd want to say, let's just say a small box full of these. I'd run into an individual that was downsizing. I believe a at-home business or a business, and in doing so, they threw in a bunch of these adapters into boxes. Some actually had the connectors still into them, and some were still in the wrapping, the hard plastic wrapping. I think they call it like bubble wrap, hard plastic. Um, the wrapping that they put these items in to put them on the shelf. I think they're still called bubble. So I purchased a whole box full of these, some still new with the connectors. So I'm going to be attempting to verify that this is a working item. This item will not hurt the other item that I'm going to be connecting it to. And I'm actually pointing upward because it's out of camera shot. In order to verify whether or not this is a working item, I'm going to be connecting it to a multimeter to check for tip voltage and for polarity sake. Sometimes these items do state which side is positive and which side is negative on the pins. You can barely see the pins on there. I'll probably have to stick a couple of sewing. I don't want to say maybe needles in there and put it on the smallest voltage, so long as they don't touch each other. And I'll show you what I mean just right now. Let me go grab a multimeter and a couple of needles. I'll show you what I mean. Do not do this with 110 though. This is not a 110 scenario. This is 3 volts. So the chance of burning this item out is next to nil. But let me show you what I mean. Okay, so here's a couple of sewing needles. The ones I use to pin your fabric down so you could start feeding your fabric through a sewing machine. Okay, so remember, I am familiar with sewing. It's not just for gentlemen to say in shame, because I am familiar with sewing. Most gentlemen that I know of do sew out of survival. It's a survival skill set. It's not just for ladies. Gentlemen, learn to sew. It's a very important skill set. Trust me when I'm telling you this. Okay, so I went on to purchase the box of these sewing needles. I have over an abundance of them, and I have no idea what to do with them, but they're very handy. Even this little box. If I need to dump out this box of needles, which I choose not to, I can use this as a little project box. Okay, so once again, this is going to be stepping down 110 down to 3 volts, so I know this is safe. So don't be putting these needles into a 110 socket. Trust me, it's not a happy-go-lucky feeling. It's very eye-opening. So you place your needles in here, and then you grab your alligator clips, slide them all the way down. Okay, hold on. You grab this and put this in here, and gently place this back in here. Okay, now this item isn't plugged into the wall, so for scenario's sake, this is what it's going to look like. Then you grab your multimeter, and you put it on the appropriate voltage. You know, turning it on, putting on the appropriate voltage, it'll tell you the polarity of the item being tested. You put your clamps on, color-coded clamps on, positive on positive, negative on negative, and you do the same thing. And you'll be able to find out which side is positive and which side is negative, making sure that this item still works. And then you gradually step up the voltage to whatever project you're going to be working on. Generally, these items are used as a replacement for power adapters, wall adapters that go bad from various items that either use batteries or don't. And instead of going out and purchasing the original power adapter, you can buy a universal one. And you'll find that the universal tips go connected here. And you can use your device again, whether it be a gaming console or whatever item that you need to purchase it for. It's a A to Z list. We'll be here all day if I go through that list. Okay. So, test leads go to multimeter. And then you plug it in here. And here. And check it on the multimeter. Now, my suggestion is that you leave this plugged in for about, I'd say about less than a minute. I generally plug it in for about 2. And I'll put my hand on it. And if it feels like it's going to exceed its temperature threshold, meaning that it'll eventually warp its case, then this item is not suitable at the set voltage that you put it at for the device that you're trying to connect it to, meaning that the adapter is going bad. The other indicator is that it hums. It's built up a resistance field, or the insulator on the coils on the inside are worn out and they're arcing or whatever they may be doing in here. I'm not an electrical engineer, but I'm pretty familiar with still some of the steps and some of the processes of troubleshooting these. They'll start to hum. The other indicator is that you can take this, and if you rattle it and it feels loose on the inside, then this item is going bad, even though it still works. It should not rattle on the inside where the parts are loose. Okay, so I'm going to be setting this adapter aside for a second. Setting my multimeter aside. Watch with the needles. So, now I was thinking, what could I possibly use the adapter on? And I ran to another item that I've had for a while. Set the needles aside as well. What can I possibly use this on? And I thought about it. I said, hey, wait a minute. I have something that I want to try out, and I've done it before. This is a license plate mounted backup camera. You know, it goes mounted here and here on your license plate. I believe there is a picture on here somewhere. Right there. That's where the camera would be mounted to the license plate. Let's see if I can raise this camera up a little bit. Let me see. There it is. Camera mounted to the license plate. Okay, so I'm going to be connecting it to this. Now, this is a 12-volt setup on the automotive side. Usually when you wire it to your brake light assembly, and the instructions are actually on the inside of this assembly. You wire it to your brake lights. With a qualified individual, this item does work properly, meaning you're familiar with automotive electrical systems. Do not jimmy rig this to your brake lights and then fry out your brake light wiring harnesses, because they're very expensive. Matter of fact, I would have preferred to run this as a dedicated line with a flip switch, a temporary flip switch that you can get from the automotive department. whether it be illuminated rocker panel or toggle switch. I would prefer to hook that up in that manner. That way, I'm not wiring it directly into the wiring harness of the brake light systems, which it has in here. They have wire taps, which you can tap it into any given wiring harness on the automotive side. So, this item has a little screen. Okay, so I'm going to be needing 2 of the power adapters. One for powering the screen, even though it says wireless. It does say wireless, even though it's upside down. It says wireless, meaning you don't have to run a wiring harness or wires from the camera to, from the from the screen, from the screen to the camera. To the camera itself. You would only need about maybe another 2 wires for it to be wired. Okay, so long story short, I'm going to be taking this out and I'm going to be using it as a security camera. As a test bench type of security camera that is temperature rated to be outside. It's outdoors. But the only drawback is this screen is extremely tiny. So it's going to be one of those projects just for the fun of it. Okay. So, you're probably wondering what today's bonus feature is. I'm going to be explaining this in terms of, I know for the people that might have that are germaphobes, I'm not trying to make fun of anybody. In fact, me right here, this individual is a germaphobe. That's not the reason why I'm wearing gloves. I'm just used to wearing gloves as a technician, a field technician. I used to work on copiers, and copiers can be quite messy. I have been using these gloves over and over again. So, occasionally, I will do this one given thing. I'm going to move my hands out of the way, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay. You're probably wondering what the Sharpie's for. For the permanent markers for. Well, when I was a field technician out, somebody caught me doing this. And I did it as a joke at the very beginning. But I go L for left. And then before I put this glove on, I'd put, of course, R for right. And then it'd be like, sir, do you not know which side is your left hand and which side is your right hand? And I go, yeah, I do, because, I'm a grown-up. And they'd be like, well, okay, so why are you doing that then? And it's like, okay, so the long story and the short version is this. When this side gets dirty, as a copier technician, you can switch hands by taking the gloves off and get twice the amount of use out of your gloves. Okay, because the dirty side would end up on the back. Your left hand dirty side would end up on the back of your right hand. And your right hand dirty side would end up on the back of your left hand. And the reason I found this out was because, boss man would point out the fact that we were going through too many gloves on job sites. So I asked him, well, hey, can I borrow a Sharpie? And he goes, why? Oh, you'll see why. So, okay, I used the gloves for a couple of days, and I wasn't throwing them away. So my boss would ask me, how in the world did you get dirty on the back of your hand if you're touching stuff? How did you manage to get the glove dirty on both sides? And I go, okay, you warned us that we were going through too many packs of gloves. Okay, so I would take off the glove when it gets dirty, because it was a copier, and I would put it, and I would swap hands. Okay, so long as the toner doesn't get on the outside cover of the copier, you're okay. So long as the toner doesn't migrate to other areas, then you're okay. So I would rip the gloves off because I had kind of twice the amount of use out of them. All right. So that's the bonus for today. I know it sounds really weird for me to say, but yes, your left hand is still your left hand and your right hand is still your right hand. And you get twice the amount of use out of them. But if you're doing medical, if you're doing medical things or things that kind of like food handling, I would not recommend this. This is only for technicians. Okay? You know, if you're handling biodegradable items or items where, you know, you might be cross-contaminating your items because you're touching them, my suggestion is throw your gloves away. Don't fool yourself. Don't turn them inside out. Don't swap hands. It's not worth it. Throw your gloves away. But if you're handling items where they get greasy and you can't do anything about it and you're running out of paper, swap hands. It's okay for the greasy side to be on this side and on this side, on the back of your hand. And then you've got a clean set of gloves. Don't turn them inside out. Just swap hands. Okay, so that's the bonus for today. I know it sounds really weird for me to say, but you can get twice the amount, like I said, the use out of your gloves. But turning them inside out does not do anything for you. You'll be getting grease or copier powder on the inside of your glove, and it'll end up on your hands, and some things just do not wash away. Okay, so that's the bonus for today. Besides the fact that, you know, you're writing left on left and right on right. We'll see you in the next video. Y'all have a good day. Bye.